lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular. He's what I call an honest liar. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming, this whole system is rigged. And then he pulled out an Illuminati membership card and chopped a line of cocaine up and did it right at the podium.
That Dave Chappelle monologue might have been, for some, their introduction to the term honest liar. And though he may not have invented the concept, that performance likely helped codify and explain it to a larger audience. But even without the existence of a term, we'd still be familiar with honest liar because we know an honest liar when we see one, and they're even easier to identify when they're on your side.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning.
Similar in a sense to anti-heroes, see the previous video, Gangsters and Cowboys. In the political realm, we like honest liars when they lie on our behalf, for the causes and movements we approve of. When the other guy does it, we call it dishonest. But when our guy does it, we call it strategy.
No, I want to work for a man who fights the really good fight and then watch a Republican get elected.
What's the difference? Can you tell?
Yes, I can tell the difference between a man who believes what I believe and lies about it to get elected and a man who just doesn't give a f***. And I'll take the liar.
At the outset, we need to distinguish honest liars from traditional liars, which will be referred to as liar liars. The difference between these two is subtle but important. The liar is a more serious actor, or attempts to play a more serious, believable role. Because of this, they're more likely to believe their own lies, and may have, in fact, internalized or integrated their false persona. This makes their lies more effective, because they're more convincing, at least for a while, and can withstand the scrutiny of the more discerning members of the public. With the liar, it's harder to tell where the man stops and the act begins. Think Barack Obama. This is not to pick on Democrats. What follows is an even-handed criticism for the very fact that politicians, regardless of party, are by default liars.
I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
While it's true that some politicians lie more than others, they all lie. And by the time they've arrived on the political stage, and I do mean stage, they've told 1,000 lies already. Lying is the price of admission to the spaces of power. This is a bipartisan trade practice, and failure to acknowledge it is political naivete. Revisiting the method acting theme discussed in the Jim Carrey-Andy Kaufman video, the liar, regardless of their arena, engages in the method acting of a sincere, believable, authentic character. On the other hand, the honest liar adopts an over-the-top persona. The honest liar may go slightly over the top, laying it on just a bit thick, in service of pathos, or they may go full tilt BS to see what lands.
I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down.
Take former President Bill Clinton as an example of a slightly over-the-top, honest liar.
And I remember just thinking what an incredible country this was, that somebody like me, had no money or anything, would be given the opportunity to meet the president. That's when I decided I could really do public service because I cared so much about people.
Take Donald Trump as an example of a radically over-the-top, honest liar.
And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win so much.
Both approaches appeal to their respective base. Again, both employ pathos. And both emanate a corresponding volume of airborne fertilizer. We like our honest liars because they tend to win elections and a whole lot more. And that's kind of the bottom line when you find yourself invested in the outcome.
This is hardball. Now you're telling me that you just discovered that and you don't have the stomach for it?
This is it, Henry. This is the price you pay to lead.
Considering that political elections are necessarily contests between two or more liars, Whoever can lie most convincingly generally wins. Sometimes the winner is the honest liar, sometimes it's the conventional liar. The 2016 presidential election was between honest liar Donald Trump and conventional liar Hillary Clinton. Both candidates told doozies on the campaign trail, and in the end, for various reasons, more Americans preferred Donald Trump's brand of lying over hot sauce Hillary's. That's democracy, and it remains the reality of our political process, but it's hardly new.
The American people like their bullshit out front. That's why they reelected Clinton. Listen, Clinton might be full of shit, but he lets you know it. Clinton said, "Hi, I'm full of shit, and how do you like that?" And the people said, "At least he's honest. At least he's honest about being full of shit."
Outside of politics in the real world, TV and film has given us its share of honest liars, but the infamous 1983 film Scarface, you might have heard of it, stands out among the crowd in crystallizing the modus operandi behind another kind of honest liar, the criminal.
I'm leaving you. I don't need this
I'll walk you out. I'll take on the captain.
Let her go, man. Another Quaalude, you're gonna love me again.
Despite the fact that Tony Montana can buy his way into a fancy restaurant thanks to the profits from his narcotics empire, certainly doesn't mean that he belongs there. Tony and everyone in the restaurant are painfully aware of this, particularly after the embarrassing public fight with his drug-addicted trophy wife.
We're looking at. You're all a bunch of You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be.
What Tony lacks in refinement, he makes up for in insight. Tony knows he's a drug lord, and while his fellow diners may or may not know the specifics of his trade, they can surmise based on his race, culture, and demeanor that he's not a legitimate business person, or at the very least, he's an outsider, one who smells of new money, possibly drug money. This honest liar has entered their world and doesn't know or care how to act among polite company. In real life, a group of fancy people in a fancy restaurant are unlikely to be a singular representation of snobbish, moneyed privilege. But this is a movie, and this scene uses Tony's character to indict this group as such, for its own rhetorical purpose. And like any work of fiction, it sacrifices some precision to make its point. Not to stray too far off topic, but it's worth noting the particular flavor of the disdain that exists among some members of the old moneyed class against new money, and vice versa. The distinction is informative. These old moneyed members resent having to share their exclusive private spaces with the new money folks, particularly if the new money members bring with them a lack of situational awareness or refined manners, the kind of manners belonging to the culture and habits that old money members are born into and that they rationally desire to perpetuate indefinitely over generations. Among these types is a belief that, beyond genetics, their customs, habits, and mores distinguish them from the common rabble and are the proof of their superiority. In other words, that their actions and cultures must be the byproducts of their inherent superior state. This is an ideology that runs counter to tabula rasa, or the blank slate theory championed by John Locke, a philosophy respecting the nurture side in the nature versus nurture debate.
That man is a product of a poor environment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him.
Of course there's something wrong with him. He's a Negro. Probably been stealing since he could crawl.
But just as old money may look down on the new money members may conversely dismiss the old moneyed class for resting on laurels, being uninspired and lazy, or specifically as too far removed from the original labors that built the empires now sustaining their luxurious lifestyles. This is not too different from sports champions who lose their insatiable hunger, that edge that once drove them to the top. Having ascended, albeit illegally, to the 1% through grit and grind, and frankly, to use Tony's own terms, balls, Tony looks back incredulously at the understandably annoyed patrons who have dismissively reduced him to his class. But Tony returns his own judgment in kind.
You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Because Tony's business requires him to also engage and operate within the seemingly upstanding, non-criminal spheres of banking, policing, and the court system, he's aware that out-in-the-open criminals are not the only people engaged in crime or corruption, and that the business and political worlds not only permit his criminal ventures, but have found clandestine methods of capitalizing on it themselves. And this leaves Tony unimpressed by the self-righteous presentations of the fine, well-to-do pearl clutchers in the room. Beyond knowing that people in polite society are not, by default, good people, he regards their affectation of goodness and decency with little respect, because their kind of decency is an easy luxury of privilege, one bestowed by a money system that allows a rare class of people to live life on cruise control once a certain threshold of wealth has been secured, either legitimately or illegitimately.
What'll I make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide, how to lie.